RunCam has just released an all-new version of their Thumb Pro. This is the wide-angle version. They are no longer going to offer the original version, which had a field of view of 145. This upgraded version is at 155. I think they had complaints about the narrow field of view, so they went ahead and made this improvement. Full disclosure, RunCam did send me this camera for testing, but they have not approved the contents of this video. The older style ND filters will physically fit onto the new camera, but it is not advised to use them because it is a wide angle and they will cause vignetting. I've been a fan of the RunCam Thumb Pro since its release. I've done several videos with it. If you want to see how to get the best quality out of this camera, check out this other video I recently made. I decided to strap the old and new RunCam Thumb together for a flight to do a comparison, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to give you that comparison because I decided to do a power loop with a lithium-ion battery with air mode turned on when I was running less than 13 volts, and I overamped my flight controller at the top of the power loop and I crashed. Lucky for me, I have 2 permanent members of my search and rescue team, and we were able to track down this camera.
What'd you find?
Nothing.
No camera?
Unfortunately, my original RunCam Thumb did not survive. The SD card actually ripped off of the circuit board and it cracked the card in half as well as broke the ND filter, and the camera will no longer power on. I guess I was lucky that it was the old camera and not the new one. I do have some footage I can show you a side-by-side where I was flying in the same location. You can definitely see how much the field of view has changed in the newer version. I will give RunCam some credit. Even though I smashed and burned the first version of this camera, I've crashed the new version probably 5 or 6 times doing some stress testing, and it has held up just fine. But you know, it just takes one good crash at the right angle to destroy something, so just be aware of that. There's also already been a gyro flow lens profile that's already been added, and it works great. I feel like this camera lines up the gyro data pretty well. Again, if you're interested on how to get the best quality out of this camera, be sure to check out that other video I did which shows you how to use gyro flow and some other features. The lens is noticeably smaller on the new camera, which was a bit of a surprise to me. I would have thought they would have kept the wider lens, being that it is a wider angle, but it does look very good. I've also noticed that the new camera is a little bit shorter when they're stacked side by side than the old version, and it weighs about 1 gram less. I did take this out to do a little bit of freestyle using the Emax Baby Hawk 2 because I figured that's where this is going to shine. The wider field of view is going to look better when doing freestyle. Again, I don't think this camera is going to hold up to a whole lot of abuse. It will definitely break if you hit it just right, as you can see from my first one, but it's definitely a much cheaper option to break than something like a GoPro. Now keep in mind this camera does not have an internal battery, so you will have to power it off of your flight controller, or you can do what I do. I use a BEC plug that goes to my balance lead, and I can plug this camera into any drone I'm flying it on. It also doesn't have Wi-Fi, so there's no way to preview your exposure or anything. You need to use a QR code to scan and set this thing up. I did, however, in another video, take a look at how you can preview your exposure by using a USB cable and a third-party app. If you're interested in that, there's another video right here. I want to thank you guys for sticking around till the end of the video. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the comments and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can.